Hello. Welcome to Faces of Stone, the Star Wars season. My name is Amanda Sisk. I am hosting this episode until today. I didn't really know what it was called, and now it's just called Explain It to Me. It's just questions and things we can talk about, and little trivial things, and picking things apart, and things I don't know, because these boys both know much more than I do. And since I've been so busy putting this together, I have asked the guys to introduce themselves however they want to. So, Noah, would you like to introduce yourself?
However I want to.
Yeah.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Just one moment while I figure out how I want to introduce myself.
You have to just go.
Hi, I'm Noah. Yes, one of the hosts of Faces of Stone. Now in its second season, the Star Wars season, which is very important to me. I remember when I was 7 years old, my mother told me that no one was going to give me anything, that I had to seize opportunity wherever I could. No one would protect me. I had to protect myself. She told me that the world was a dangerous place, that no one really cared if I lived or died. That most people were trying to kill me or rob me or both. She told me I had to get tough. So, I did.
Hi, I'm Marc-Anthony Macon.
Yes, now Marc-Anthony, would you like to please introduce yourself?
I'm one of the co-hosts of Faces of Stone. I'm probably best known for the Clip Art Théâtre's workshop production of Short Artist, a one-man musical about Toulouse-Lautrec, and of course for my recurring role as the voice of Chimchaw, the primetime animated sitcom Boy, Where Are Your Pants? I'd like to thank God for this chance to talk about Star Wars on the internet. So in the words of Chimchaw, just keep the Mentos coming, pal.
Thank you, and I'm so lucky to be co-hosting these two men.
Thanks for letting us do that in our own words.
In the way that we would want to do it ourselves, without having to be...
Exactly.
You're so generous of you. Mm-hmm. Usually the host takes the opportunity to introduce the guests.
I felt a little bad that I had to make you guys put it together, but you did great. It really described you as you are.
And before nice to finally let loose.
Yes. We've loosened the structure of Faces of Stone. I think that's good. We relax it more and more because it's really too militaristic at this point.
You might say our structure is too loose.
Oh my God. So a couple of things, housekeeping. First of all, since I put this together, Noah is going to be the bingo boffo man. He's come up with the words. Noah, do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, I'm afraid bingo is in my hands tonight. So just watch it. Now, this isn't exactly bingo. The way Stone Star Wars bingo works is usually Amanda, but tonight I come up with a bunch of words that I think these two might say, and I write them on cards. And if they say it, then I hold up the card. And it'll be great. But I don't have the bell. Amanda.
We just have never established... do I stand to win something if I get a lot of bingos? Like, should I just be like Joseph Campbell, B movies? Like, what should I,
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, you will win.
Okay. All right.
However, instead of the bell that Amanda rings when she bingos, I will...
My neighbor will like that better.
What's that?
My neighbor will like that better.
I'm also going to throw rocks at the wall.
All right. And so Noah's doing that. And then I would also like to give some reference to these people I got a lot from for this episode. How Star Wars Conquered the Universe by Chris Taylor. Very good book. A blog, a medium, Why I Love Star Wars. And it's called Palpatine's Master Plan by Rodrigo Pipoli. This is excellent. Excellent if you want to get into nitty gritty and be explained to like your 4-year-old. And then finally, the Dharma of Star Wars, which is written by Matthew Bortolin. And that's very good as well. So first, yes, we should talk about the last trailer, the final trailer for Rise of Skywalker. First off, what was everybody's first reaction, their initial reaction when they saw
Well,
it?
I'm diving right into it. I just think that there is no denying that C-3PO saying, I'm taking one last look at my friends, is nothing has stabbed me in the heart like that for like 25 years.
I saw
that one, those like 5 seconds just...
It's the Chewie we're home of this trailer.
But it's so much more than that to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is even more so, but it has a meaning in the plot, which we don't know what it is yet.
Right.
But then it also has a meta meaning for the audience.
Yes, it just killed me. And then he puts his hand on top of R2 and Chewie is like, it's just beautiful. I started sobbing, and I started sobbing. They're going to kill 3PO. They're going to kill 3PO. And he, Noah, of course, said, you have no idea. Previews never tell you,
Well, 3PO is, one of the Wills.
Really?
Well, he would have to be, wouldn't he? Who else would know this story better?
Because he knows the whole story. Well,
Wow.
But does he? Does he know the
Yeah, Wills are R2 and 3PO.
He's had
I
his
guarantee you.
Like, 3PO has had his memory erased several times.
Yeah, but that might just be like, we erase from here, but there's always a backup of those memories, and we can re-access them, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, Anakin's a dick. Everyone knew it. Why didn't,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, you end up, but like the internet was full of people saying, that this obviously meant 3PO was somehow going to die or end. And maybe that is what happens in the story, but I don't think that's clear from the one line in the trailer. And I also think, in the previous trailer, there was a shot of 3PO with red eyes, and everyone had a lot of questions. Why were 3PO's eyes red? And so, maybe whatever's being reprogrammed in his head in that clip in the new trailer, maybe that has to do with like, this is just my inference, but turning him into some kind of weapon, or I don't know, something that might have something to do with the red eyes.
That would be heartbreaking too, if 3PO was a weapon.
Yeah.
Language is often a weapon.
True.
And he speaks over 6 million.
Right, yeah. So that's
That's
one
a lot of
powerful
weapons.
dude.
Including
Teddy
the
bears think he's a god. I mean, that alone is a weapon.
He is. He's an Ewok god.
Mark, you think he's a Will?
I think he could be a Will. I think it would make perfect sense for R2 and 3PO to be at least these, somehow giving this information to the Wills, if not the Wills themselves.
It's I love that idea. It's lovely.
I mean, they are the only characters that have been in every single movie other than, no, they were in Rogue One. They were not in...
Yeah, they're not in Solo.
Yeah.
But they are in all the others. Yeah, it's definitely true. They're like the witness to the entire saga. But for that very reason, the final installment in the Skywalker saga, and when we ask that the Skywalker saga is ending, even though it's perfectly obvious there's going to be plenty more Star Wars.
Sure.
And somehow making these infinite characters finite in this movie, I mean, it would make a certain narrative sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it does seem like we are going to, I don't know if that's what it's going to be, but we're going to lose somebody here.
Yeah.
Well,
probably more than a couple somebody.
This brings me to a good point to bring this up, and it'll stay on the preview. But so I have a card here called "Who is Going to Die."
Oh.
So what do we think?
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I have to tell you. You may not know this, and I don't like to be the one to tell you this, especially on a show in a format like this. But Norma's already dead.
Okay, well, let's take her name off of here.
It's sad, but Norma's
dead. We could do this as we keep going forward, but there's a game here. Who's going to die?
You want to go? I mean, I do not think Rey is going to die. I think that's obviously going to happen.
Hux will certainly die.
You think Hux is going to die?
If Hux doesn't die in the first 15 minutes, I'll eat a raw egg. I do that every day anyway, but whatever.
All right, I'm writing these down.
Well, it has to be something that you don't do every day.
All right, Noah, what do you think?
I'll eat some krepla, which I've been meaning to do, but I don't do every day. So,
So if Hux doesn't die in the first 15 minutes,
I would have to do it, yeah.
Marc-Anthony's going to eat some krepla.
Yeah.
Never have the stakes been this high with a new Star Wars movie.
All right.
Uh,
What are you thinking here?
Rey is definitely not going to die. I don't think Kylo Ren is either, although he may change in some significant way.
I'm gonna disagree. Just to be contrary, really, at this point. I think that I will say Kylo will die sacrificing himself.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, okay. You know what? It's not as clear that he won't die, but I know they're not going to kill Rey off in this episode.
No.
And I suspect Finn and Poe are going to make it to the end too. But you know, I suspect. I think Lando is a strong candidate for
he's
death.
going to die. Lando's going to die. Go on. He does something great. He sacrificed himself, but Lando's dead.
And it's kind of like
he was
we got Han
intended to die
back
in
for
Return of the
movie.
Jedi, by the way. I think the first, or one of the early treatments, at least, of the script, Lando died in the Falcon explosion of the Death Star.
That sounds. I think I've heard that.
And you know, it was decided that would be too much of a downer, so he lived.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that Leia's going to die.
Oh, I think it's been stated that she's not.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That
no.
they're not going to kill her character off in this movie.
Good, because we don't want that.
No, who wants that?
What else do we think?
I mean,
Chewie will never die.
I hope not.
And I especially hope not, you know, for a while, because the guy that's playing him now is pretty cute.
But they can always tell stories from earlier in Chewbacca's life.
Yeah, there can always be tons of Chewies.
But I don't think they're going to kill him, and I think that would be a terrible thing to do.
That would be like, you know, it's the end of Star Wars. Let's go Old Yeller with this. Chewie gets rabies, and they have to put him down.
Or it's like, you know, 3PO goes and you find R2-D2 lying dead on top of his grave. It's terrible.
Oh, God.
That's where the red fern grows, though.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We got 3PO, Rose, R2-D2, BB-8, and the Emperor left.
Yeah, I mean, the Emperor, you know, we don't even know what, depending on what form he exists in this film, you know, I suspect he will be, if I had to guess, I'd say that at the end of episode 9, the Emperor is defeated, but with some open question about whether he can continue to
Laugh at the end of
operate.
trailers and freak us all the fuck out.
Maybe. I mean, now we're really saying this is the ultimate villain of the entire thing, and it continues to exist under very unlikely circumstances. So I hesitate to say he's going to be killed. But on the other hand, to not defeat the bad guy at the end of this 9-movie cycle seems.
Yeah, I kind of think we're going to somehow have something that seems really final for Palpy.
Mm-hmm. Palpy.
Palpy. Or Palps, as he's called in the South.
Palps.
Palps.
Mm-hmm.
Palps, hand me some of them Mentos. All right. We also have 3PO, Rose, R2-D2, BB-8. Which of the droids is going to survive?
BB-8's not going to be killed off. I mean,
I
the 3PO...
BB-8 will die too, either.
I think BB-8 will die.
Really?
Do you?
If it's going to be BB-8 or R2-D2, which I think it is, BB-8's going to go.
I might agree with that. That's not a bad point. And at this point, I'm just going to, you know, just to be in on the early floor, I'm going to say R2 and 3PO both live their wills. That's what they.
Up until Rogue One and Solo, was the concept for a thing in these films?
The concept of the wills?
The concept of droid death. Like in Rogue One and Solo, there's a big death scene for a droid that's treated very much like a death scene for a living character. I don't think that's
not really in the films, but certainly in some of the extended canon stuff, there's probably been a bit of that.
And what do we think about Rose? I think she might go.
Really?
I kind of doubt it. I think.
I don't think they'd want to give the haters that satisfaction.
Right. And if for some reason she does go, I bet it's going to be in some kind of really cool way.
Heroic way, yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I don't think that any decent human being would give the haters that satisfaction. I think if anything, maybe give Rose some time to have her own spin-off movie.
Yes, the Rose movie, Rose.
Right.
Star Rose.
Oh my God, you're on a roll. You're on a roll.
The War of the Roses. They clone Rose, and then
and then it runs off the track after that.
Yeah.
Quantico.
Oh my God. All right, so then I've got 2 blank spaces. Am I forgetting anybody who's gonna die?
I'm gonna say Maz Kanata is gonna die.
Maz
Kanata. Yeah.
Is that M-A-Z or M-O-Z?
It is. I think it's M-A-Z.
And then who else? Do you agree with that, Noah?
That she's going to die?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I think we'll see her. I think she'll play a very small but pivotal role in the plot.
So, though I spelled it wrong, we're going to see her again. Yes? That's what you think?
I'm sure we'll see her again.
Yeah. It would be really weird if we didn't, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else who's going to die that we don't know about?
Who else is there?
Well, I guess if there could be another appearance by DJ, the code cracker.
I don't know. He's not coming back.
I mean, there are some new characters in this movie.
Oh, that's true. There's Zora Bliss.
Who may die.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the new characters.
Zora Bliss, yeah. Is that the Kerry Russell character?
Yes. Yeah.
And then Matt, an actor named Matt from Doctor Who.
Yes.
Matt Smith.
That's his name. That's why I couldn't think of it.
There were rumors for a long time that Matt Smith was going to be playing the Emperor, as in like the new host body of the spirit of the Emperor that was gradually becoming Ian McDermott.
That's fucked up. That's freaky to me. That kind of shit's freaky to me.
Really? Like in a good way or a bad way?
In a way that, of course, I don't tear my eyes away from it. But it's not like Frogmoth where I can't watch it.
Wait, so I just find this interesting. Matt Smith inhabited by Ian McDermott. That's
I don't like that.
Freaky to you in a really okay.
No, I mean it's interesting, but like it freaks me out, like body possession.
Yeah, okay.
I think being John Malkovich.
That's interesting.
Really... Go ahead.
That's an interesting theory. I mean, if early in the and then they introduce a new, powerful, mysterious villain played by Matt Smith, and then over the course of the film, he turns out to be Palpatine, and in fact, in some way, transmog to Ian McDermott. That sounds good.
It does. It sounds.
I mean, if you take any movie where you just say like halfway through, this person will start to transmogrify into Ian McDermott, I would at least want to see that version of the film.
That old trope.
Yeah. If that's an option, I might want to see the original version first, but eventually I'm going to want to see what happens when, let's say Breakfast at Tiffany's. What happens?
All right. And so on the other end of that, who are we going to see again? And these are all.
It's been confirmed that Dennis Lawson is returning as Wedge Antilles.
Right. Dennis Lawson,
which is nice.
Wedge Antilles.
Which is lovely. I mean, that's great. I think the other things that we that we know about, are like Billy D. Williams and.
That's not what's on here.
And,
okay, there had better be an Ewok. I'm just saying. If I don't
yeah, that's interesting.
Ewoks,
I mean, there's maybe some indication that some of this might be on Endor.
It's really hard. I feel like it's got to be either Endor or Yavin.
The forest
looks a little more Endor
world.
To me.
It looks like.
And then it could. For that matter, it could be Naboo, couldn't it? But the ruins of the Death Star that we see,
right?
It makes sense that might have wound up on Endor.
Where is that? That's a totally different place. That looks like Camino, but I know it's not Camino. All that water?
Oh, with all that water, yeah. Well, Endor it does have more climates than just the forest part.
Maybe, but that shit's. I love that. I love the way that looks.
But then Yavin is a jungle planet. It could be that too. And the Death Star blew up near that planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a moon of Yavin. Also, another moon.
What do you think about the fact that entire room landed intact? Because I know Noah was having a little bit of a
Yeah, I have a major problem with it.
Oh, the Emperor's throne
if you
room?
watch any of the explosions of any Death Star, they more or less disintegrate.
Yeah.
It's a sonic boom.
No piece that big came off.
I mean, it's quite possible that the movie will make me say, like, yeah, I don't buy it, but I'm sure glad we had that scene in that room. But
Yes.
the notion of it is a little unconvincing. Or maybe there's some explanation for them being in that room other than that room physically surviving the destruction of the Death Star.
That's possible, too.
Now, one of the things I noticed in the trailer is something that I've thought about. Well, Kylo Ren, when he's walking, he doesn't do the regular, like, back with his sword or whatever that most people do because he can't, but he does tuck it back. And one of my questions for a long time has been, how the fuck does he not cut his hand off with that lightsaber that has the thing sticking out? Like, how does he not cut his hand off? And wouldn't that be interesting if he cut his own hand off?
If he just accidentally, like, oh shit. Like,
Yes.
fuck, why did I design this stupid thing?
So that's what I wanted to ask about lightsabers, though. So we know now that there are kyber crystals in them, yes?
Yes.
And we know that to become a full Jedi, you make your own.
That's one of the steps, but it's not the only step.
So is it like Kylo Ren is trying to make one and he doesn't have a kyber crystal or something, and it's like that's
no, his kyber crystal is unstable because in order to make a kyber crystal, make a red blade, you have to torture it, kind of. And so he abused it too much, and it made this unstable thing. And apparently that's why he has to have the side things to create venting for the power that the
How do you know this?
kyber crystal is. How do I know this?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
But where would it have come
We get memos from George Lucas every week, and I just skim some of them. But I know this much.
Okay. So he hasn't made it, but Rey also does not fashion her own lightsaber.
No, she has not. But I guess it might count if she repairs Luke's.
How did Maz get her lightsaber? Or his lightsaber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did anyone get that lightsaber? More importantly, like, forget how it got to Maz. How did anyone?
Because Luke loses it with his hand, right?
And it falls down into Cloud City, theoretically into the gas giant below.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it really hard to believe that anyone could recover that lightsaber.
These are all the questions we had after episode 7, and we thought, well, episode 8 will tell us.
So here's, I guess the most ludicrous explanation could be that Vader got that retrieved the lightsaber, and that he, throughout the years, was setting up some sort of way to conquer the Emperor, knowing that he was playing a long game.
I don't think so.
Vader's the only person I think that could have gotten the lightsaber, because the rebels all fled immediately.
How funny, Vader! And he's like, "Oh, there that is."
Yeah. Well, he could
I haven't seen that thing in years.
Lightsaber, the kyber crystal from his son's lightsaber, led him to it.
But it's really his lightsaber, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is his lightsaber. That's right.
It's like a boomerang.
He says to Luke, "I see you've built your own lightsaber."
That's in Return of the Jedi.
That's after Luke loses that.
So what does he do with the other one?
What does Luke do with the green one?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Because the one that Rey has is, I believe, Anakin's, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because in The Force Awakens, when she had the vision upon touching it, we hear Anakin-related noises.
Yes.
So we think we're going to see Anakin Vader again?
I think we're going to see Anakin Vader, yes.
I mean, just because of the Comic-Cons or whatever they are.
Whatever.
It sounds like we will see them, and we will see specifically Hayden Christensen. There's at least a strong possibility.
Do you think we'll see Vader, or do you think we're just going to see Anakin?
I think we're going to see every goddamn character we've ever seen in Star Wars. I think Obi-Wan. I think Liam Neeson's going to take a break from his daughter getting kidnapped.
I think in the trailer, Rey and Kylo Ren looks like Vader's helmet.
No.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
No. You blanked out there. You said Rey and Kylo Ren, and then I heard Vader's helmet.
in the trailer when they're destroying something together. And
Oh.
I think it's either Vader's old costume or like maybe some kind of pedestal that has his helmet on top of it.
It looks like a shell of Vader, like it's a being,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
a being without any.
But I did kind of get the feeling of it being made of stone, the way that it fell apart. But
that's kind of
again,
what I'm talking about, like Dracula kind of thing. But,
Yeah.
you know, vampires before vampires.
But the helmet itself, when we saw it in episode 7, it had this kind of burned, melted, stone-like kind of look to it.
Right. And that was one of my questions, was who the hell got that helmet and how?
Well, maybe Luke did, and you know, Ben Solo could have taken it from Luke during their years together.
Okay. I guess.
Do you think we're gonna see Han in episode 9?
Oh.
That is a good question.
I mean, it would be hard to contrive.
No.
I think I would be surprised if we don't see Han, but I don't think we're going to see. I don't think Harrison Ford is going to set foot in the studio, other than maybe some voice work.
We're not going to see new Han. No.
We might see young Han flashback or something, but I don't think we're going to see new Han unless it's maybe his grave or something.
There was some story about Harrison Ford visiting the set, but that doesn't mean he's in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it.
It would be surprising. It would require the kind of narrative devices that Star Wars generally doesn't use.
Right.
I do feel sad that it's an understatement, but that Carrie Fisher, you know, I'm very glad she's in the movie in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling whatever they have figured out to do with her will absolutely destroy us all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sad that she hasn't actively been part of it, that it wasn't crafted for her the way it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's like now the slight disappointment of episode 7 that we never got to see like a Han, Luke, and Leia reunion on screen. Like it got very unlikely even before she died, but now we know we'll never get that.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with all of those things. And yeah, how much did it kill anybody else to hear her say "always" at the end of the trailer?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Not only was that that would have been a beautiful moment if under any circumstances, but the fact that it worked so well under the circumstances we're aware of was quite something.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think even cynical Carrie Fisher would think it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, and it was the old Obi-Wan line we've heard so often.
The Force be with you always.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
I guess that's in episode 4. At the end of the voice of Obi-Wan says that to Luke.
I'm pretty confident after watching this trailer too that is the Tantive 4 ship. So that is Bail Organa's ship.
Yeah, in an interior shot, right?
Well, no, we saw exterior shots in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Of it crashing in
it's
trees and.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I I don't know why they would have the exact same style of ship with the same colors unless it was going to be that ship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also when you see the scene with all of the ships kind of coming, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
It is replete with little nods to ships from all over.
It's
Star Wars
amazing.
history
That part is amazing.
What are some of what are some of the ships you notice?
So there is the Ghost, which is from the Rebels show. There's the, I believe, the Outrunner, which was from one of the early novels. Kind of early novels, 90s novels. I looked at a whole list of it, and now I've forgotten which ones there were. But there are tons of ships there that have seen airtime, mostly in probably Clone Wars and stuff like that. And a few from the old Legends stuff.
Nice.
But it's clearly, and we haven't really gotten a space battle in either of these new trilogy movies. There have been kind of small, like we had the bombing at the beginning of The Last Jedi and all of that, but we haven't had a full-scale space battle.
That's true.
Like either of the Death Star battles.
Yeah, well, is the Star Killer attack in Episode 7 like that?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not like there's like 15 ships in that.
Mm-hmm.
This thing with them all lining up in the sky is just amazing, visually amazing.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is also our big asshole TV that we now have.
How are you enjoying the giant asshole TV?
You know, I still feel like an asshole, but it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay.
It's great for watching the news and stuff. I like it when Rachel Maddow's teeth are the size of my head.
As Noah said, this TV is so big we can read the newspapers on his desk. Okay, so what about
silly?
What about Yoda and Obi-Wan? We said Obi-Wan probably yes.
Oh sure, yeah.
In some way.
I hope Yoda does some breakdancing or something.
Do you think they're gonna come back as like flashbacks or Force ghosts?
Both. I bet we're gonna get both.
What do you think?
Flashbacks are pretty rare in Star Wars. I mean, they do occur, and there were some important ones certainly in Last Jedi. But there's not a lot of flashbacks throughout these movies.
No, I think that if we have flashbacks in this, it very well be through 3PO's eyes. It might be.
Wow.
We're seeing what 3PO is seeing, and he's going back through his data banks, and yes, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and then there was this.
And then they're gonna kill him.
I think it makes more sense like that he's taking on some kind of risk. They have to do something that has to do with accessing his memories. What?
I think he's going to be lost after this. I think he knows that once they're going to take his memory or something. That's what it is. They're going to have to take his memory out of him. That's what I think now, suddenly. They're going to take his memory out of him, which means he's going to say goodbye to his friends because his memory is truly going to be wiped and he's not going to remember anybody. That's a theory I just had.
That's a pretty...
And then at the very end, he's going to wake up.
And say, I am the FBI.
Yeah, right.
Do you think we'll see David Prowse?
No.
David Prowse doesn't even want to see David Prowse.
That's really mean, Marc-Anthony.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, David.
Plagueis? Do you think we'll ever see Plagueis?
I'm going to vote for mention of Plagueis. Plagueis is mentioned.
Honorable mention?
I'm actually going to see Plagueis, but there might be my master Darth Plagueis. They've this hideaway to store my essence. You know.
Wow.
Very good.
That kind of thing.
What about Padme?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I bet we'll see a flashback of Padme.
I think we'll see a flashback of Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe giving birth.
Maybe.
I'm not as confident as you are that there's going to be quite such a vast reunion of
I think there's going
characters.
to be a clone of Padme.
How will you tell? Yes. Okay, what about any Ewok? Yes, you said.
Yeah.
Jar Jar?
Please let there be Jar Jar.
We won't see Jar Jar.
0% chance.
I disagree. I think there's hope. There's always hope the Great Pumpkin will come.
A New Hope?
I'm not saying that I don't think there could be, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Marc-Anthony has high hopes.
Do.
Apple pie in the sky hopes.
Yes. Do you think
weird things to be happening?
No. Do you think we'll see a Lucas cameo in this one?
Oh, that's a good. Yes, I bet we will.
That's a strong possibility, I think.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't, come to think of it. I mean, why not?
Okay.
He'll become the Stan Lee of the Star Wars movies.
Well, you know, he should, especially if he's like a toy salesman.
Hawking his wares.
Right.
The lady at the bar with the red pants.
You know, it would be great if George Lucas isn't in the movie, but they CGI him into it.
You know what would be great is if George Lucas was the lady at the bar with the red pants.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
He would be perfect for that role.
Mace Windu?
Oh. No, okay, I don't think we'll see Mace Windu in this, but I don't think we've seen the last of Mace Windu by any chance.
There we go. Okay, so you think it's not the last we'll see of him. Noah, do you think we're going to see Mace Windu?
I would be surprised if we see him in this movie, but in some other Star Wars piece of something sometime, absolutely. I think we probably will.
Itchy.
No, I don't think we're going to see Itchy.
I think we're not going to see Itchy, but we might see Mala and we might see Lumpy.
Okay. You know, Noah has this right. He put it on these little pieces of paper. I had these like pieces of construction paper all fucking over the room, and I couldn't see them, and I had to like climb up. Why didn't you tell me not to do that?
To like face a room of students and give a.
What about the Targaryen girl?
Kira.
Han Solo's woman, yeah.
No, I think that my guess is that stuff was either leading into Han Solo sequels that had not happened because of the unpopularity of that movie, or that was setting up something for The Mandalorian.
Noah? So what do you think, Noah? What do you think about that Targaryen girl? That Targaryen girl.
Same thing. I think she's likely to be a character used in some future piece of Star Wars work, but not in this movie. I don't see why we would. And I think there's already, this movie has quite a list of things that it needs to address. And so I don't think they're going to, that's why I don't think there's necessarily going to be like an embarrassment of riches as far as unexpected cameos from old friends. This movie already has to do so much and resolve so much. Bringing Kira into it isn't really gonna.
No.
Why would that be helpful?
Well, you could have said the same thing about Snoke in The Force Awakens, though. I am not confident about J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. So Snoke, we're gonna see Snoke again.
I bet so.
You think so? No, I don't think so.
In the end of Snoke, but I bet there's going to be some kind of at least mention of Snoke and maybe a flashback of Snoke. And
I think we'll maybe get some more information about who he was and how he fit into what I suppose is Palpatine's grand plan.
We could Palpatine's grand plan,
or maybe Matt Smith is playing young Snoke.
Right.
He's a little Snokey in the face.
He's a little Snokey in the face. Now I know which Doctor Who you're
something one wants to, hear as a descriptor for themselves. You're looking a bit Snokey today, Matt.
That was my question, and just why? Why bring Darth Maul back? But you just explained that. Probably for the sequels. And then, of course, God bless you.
Gesundheit.
Hold on, there was something else we were just talking about. I don't know.
Darth Maul, Snoke, Matt Smith?
Okay, well, the First Order. Who? Oh. Please explain the origin of the First Order to me, though I'm a child.
I do not really know the origin of the First Order, and I believe that's because no one really knows the origin of the First Order. And there are rumors that it seems that they did start in the Outer Rim or the Unknown Regions or something like that, which is where theoretically parts of Palpatine's Plan B were being
Everything happens in the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Except for Cloud City.
Well, they're a small enough facility not to be noticed by the Empire.
Yes. Well, that's another question then from my how, why. So they don't know where the Rebel base is in several movies. Mm-hmm. But they send a probe to Hoth in this huge, gigantic galaxy. They send a probe to Hoth, and then they also find them on Naboo. And how did they find them? Or not Naboo, Tatooine. And how did they find them? I mean, what? How in this huge galaxy do they find them in those two remote places?
Well, it seems that, Palpatine can feel things through space. So can Luke. We saw him find Cloud City through the Force.
But Palpatine, it was either Palpatine or Darth Vader who said, we're sending droids everywhere, or we're sending, probe droids everywhere so we can find them.
Well, that's just what the Imperial dudes were doing. And you might as well let them do that while you're using the Force to be like, yes, it's on the fucking ice planet. I know there's no life forms there. We're just going. Get the big scary walkie things.
So he can feel Luke.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, as far as we know, they could be sending probes to like every planet in the galaxy, right?
How is that possible?
Well, they got a lot of probes.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be their probe salesman.
Oh, yeah. If you have the probe stand on the Death Star, man, you can clean up.
Gross.
Probes. You walk down the halls of the Death Star. Probes. I got your probes here. Probe droids.
But street probes are nowhere near as good as homemade probes.
Yeah.
They're more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. Family, grandma's probe recipe.
Oh my God. That's so sweet. That's such a Southern thing. Anyway, so we're talking about the probes, finding them. So he senses his son. Why does he not sense Leia? Does he? Where's that? Why does he not seem to sense?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to know anything about Leia until Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only through Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He doesn't even sense her when Luke is talking to her on Cloud City.
Right.
But he senses Luke. And he's talking to Luke on the Falcon, but doesn't sense
Is it because Luke has been developing his Force sensitivity and Leia hasn't? And so Luke is kind of on the network.
Yeah.
Could be. Could be.
Because Vader doesn't seem to ever sense that there's anything special about Luke other than that the Force is strong with him until the moment that he reveals he's Luke's father.
Right. But I mean, he's right in front of Leia in A New Hope, and he.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
That's true.
taking her
If he
captive.
does, he's hiding it. He
In
never,
Empire, too.
But the first you see of Leia is her being taken captive by Darth Vader.
Right. Only you could be so bold.
Yes. So that was yeah, okay, so we just talked about the probes.
Probes!
Okay, here's a question I have. I have many questions. Okay, First Order and who started it. We just don't know.
I think the main thing is we just don't know. People theorize that it was Palpatine. Others theorize that it was just like remnants of the Empire that were disgruntled and butthurt. And yeah, we just don't know.
Okay. Sifo Dyas.
Oh, okay.
Did he really order the clones? Or
Okay.
did he really order the clones, or did Dooku order the clones under his name?
Dooku ordered the clones under his name.
So Dooku must have ordered the clones 8 years prior.
10 years prior.
So Dooku's been doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, but around the same time that Darth Maul was ostensibly killed, and so it would be around the time he probably became Sidious's disciple.
Right. So why would he say he was Sifo Dyas?
To cover his tracks.
Okay.
There's an episode of, I don't remember if it's Clone Wars or Rebels or what, but there is you can see what happened with Sifo Dyas. You can see the Sifo Dyas story at some point, I think.
Well, this leads me to another question I had, which I was going to let people pick, but this is for you, definitely. Is the expanded universe necessary to get the true and fullest experience of the movies?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I would say that, like, to me, that's kind of what's fun about Star Wars, is that you can experience it in so many different ways, and whatever your particular flavor is, you can probably find that. But I don't think I enjoy it more because of the EU than because of knowing the, legend stuff than you do from not knowing it.
All right. Okay, here's something I've been thinking about a lot. Our neighbor. Okay. Chewie and Han. Tell me if I'm wrong about this. It seems they see the Millennium Falcon, load a whole bunch of monsters onto it without anybody on the Millennium Falcon noticing, and then just going, hey, guys, we're back home. The Millennium Falcon just ended up here, and let's get on it.
But no, those monsters weren't on the Millennium Falcon. We talked about this last week. They weren't.
Right.
They were on the ship that captured the Millennium Falcon.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
I think, right? We'll be watching that for the next episode, so we can find out if what were they called?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But they're not nice.
All right. Luke was immediately drawn to the cave on Dagobah. Like as soon as he landed there, he's like, "What's in here?" Yeah. So why was he so pissed off at Rey when she was immediately drawn to the dark cave on Ahch-To?
He doesn't want her to make the same mistakes he made, I guess.
He did pretty well.
He doesn't think so. I mean, you know, we don't really know the full story of what happened with Kylo and the Knights of Ren either. Like, that could be
well, here's some more questions that you guys could choose from. I have a lot more questions, and I'm confused about things, but here's some that you can choose from, and I'll just.
Oh, a menu of questions.
Yes. Can you read them?
How is this night different from any other?
Yeah. Do you want to answer that question, Noah?
Yes. Tonight we eat bitter herbs to remind us of the bitterness of life.
Okay. Great. Here's some more questions that you can answer, and.
If you were introducing...
lived in the Star Wars universe, how would you dress? I'll take that one.
Okay, what would you say? What do you say, McKinley?
Okay. Man, I think I would. It's the only place where I would want to wear like a jumpsuit. I think I want kind of mechanic gear in Star Wars.
So not like a tight jumpsuit, not like a cat suit.
No, but something similar to like a X-wing pilot's uniform, but more monkey wrenchy.
Okay, good. I like the Jedi robes. I mean, I don't think I would necessarily want to be a Jedi, but I like those robes. I think I'd be very comfortable in them.
It seems that Jedi and slaves can wear those. So
yes.
Well, you saying you didn't want to be a Jedi kind of makes me think I should go to this card, which is.
I like that card.
Okay.
That's a crazy card.
This is a choice card. Jedi or Sith, political leader or rebellion leader, rebel soldier, empire military, droid, or some guy on the train.
So wait, you have to pick one of each of these?
Yeah.
In a like 4-square thing, or in that whole 6 across?
I would like to say all across, but do you have any reason?
Oh man, okay. You have to speak so I can see them again.
So Jedi, Sith, political leader, rebellion leader, rebel soldier, droid, empire military, or
some guy on the train. Yeah, some guy on the train.
What about you, Noah?
Can I see the list again? I think I probably, of those things, yeah, I mean, being a guy on a train is the one that leaves you the most options. But of the others, I think I'd be probably most likely to be a rebellion leader.
All right, and so the second half of this card it's about death.
Okay.
So get ready. It's about death. Very sad. Would you rather be killed by a Jedi, killed by a Sith, killed by a bounty hunter, killed by an Ewok, or kill a Jedi, kill a bounty hunter, kill a Sith, or kill an Ewok?
Being killed by an Ewok, at least you know they're going to use every part of your body.
I'm going to go with killed by a bounty hunter because I know that, bounty hunting work is real work.
I want to kill an Ewok accidentally.
Accidentally?
Yeah.
Or like, drop a toaster in the Ewok's bath.
I fell over.
Drop a toaster.
I guess that wouldn't be terribly accidental, would it? Whoopsie.
Accidentally.
Sorry about that, Chubu.
Why are you there with a toaster?
Hey, I got you this new toaster, and it's plugged in. Whoops.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to some of these questions. If you were introducing Star Wars to someone, And this could be, if you need to differentiate between child and adult, do so. Would you go prequel, original, these last three? Original, prequel, these last three? Originals, no prequels, no last three.
I will always introduce everyone to them in numerical order, in chronological order, sequential order. Always.
Why?
Because that's just the way I like it, and this is the thing I like, and if we're going to watch the thing I like together, you're going to watch it the way I like to watch it. If you want to watch it the other way, go watch with somebody that likes their machete order bullshit.
That's telling them.
Do you like the machete order bullshit?
Well, I would talk to the person, and as you say, if it's a child, if it's a grown-up, I mean, I would want to discuss it with them and see if they have any feelings about it. And I would say that I think my feelings about it are that it's interesting and it does make sense to start with episode 1. But I would only do that with somebody who I thought was in it for the long haul. Somebody who was going to give up if they didn't like the first couple of movies, I wouldn't take the chance, because a lot of people don't like the prequels. And also, to me, the order that I know it works in, and the only order I'll ever know it works in, is the order in which I originally saw them, because you can't unsee them. So if it were up to me and I was going to make the call and the person didn't have anything to say about it, I think I would probably go in theatrical release order.
I definitely would. Theatrical release order. Because I think
you're not in the minority. I think most people would prefer to do that.
The first ones are made okay by having watched the second 3, in my opinion.
You're talking about the first ones, meaning.
But see, the times that I've shown the original trilogy, when they didn't grow up with it, their response was pretty meh anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had enough adults that have never seen it watch any Star Wars and be really totally into it.
But even if that's true, I still think the prequels, which, as you know, I have criticisms of. I don't hate the prequels, but I think that to the extent that the prequels are interesting, to me it seems that they're interesting because of the way they expand your understanding of the originals.
You have such reverence for the original ones that the only interest you have in them is that.
I don't know if it's the only interest.
Well, no, but I mean, but I think that's a large part of it.
It is a large part of it.
In the context of that, I think you'd be looking at them from a different angle.
I guess so. But I know that they are richer. I mean, I still think it's safe to say they are richer if you know the original trilogy.
Absolutely.
There's more to appreciate in them. And so I think they might, I think the prequels need that, they need that help. Because whatever it is about them that is harder to, is less accessible, is helped, I think, by having the background, even though the background happens later in the story. Although you told me, I want to start episode 1 and watch all 9 of them, I'd say, great, that'll be fun. And it's telling that for this, discussions one and go in chronological order, is that now that the story exists, we might as well do it that way.
Do you think that people in the future, how do you think, let's say 200 years from now, how are teachers and students, because surely there will be people
in
film schools, if nowhere else, that are like, we're going to show you Star Wars, you've got to have this in your lexicon.
If it's in a film school or an art school or something, they're going to show it, the first trilogy release.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
I just know, because that's the way they were seen and that's the way they were built. And so you watch this whole story as I think they'd show it both ways, but then I think they'd show the middle first. But I think if it's a time capsule thing.
If civilization is wiped out, but Star
Wars. They're going to watch 1 through 9. Yeah.
I think for entertainment purposes, a lot of people will start with episode 1 for obvious reasons, especially when we're, decades and centuries away from hype surrounding the reception of these movies. But I think in an academic context, the 1977 movie is the one that's most important, to film history. It's the one that's most important, and I think even in 200 years, it probably will. What was innovative about episode 4 and the way it changed movies and the business of movies and everything else about popular culture, I think that will weigh more heavily than the innovations of the prequels in digital filmmaking and the innovations of the sequels in, you know, more diverse casts.
Okay. These are, well, here's some questions from which you can choose. What makes someone a Jedi, and who decides now? Who is the Skywalker in question? And if it's Rey, how? Do Hux and Kylo hang out together outside of work? If so, what's their favorite activity?
Now we're getting somewhere.
Valorum sending Jedi to deal with the Trade Federation was, quote, unexpected. What else has been unexpected for Palpatine, the Emperor, that he's just had to deal with? In the Rule of Two, which is about the Sith, how long can you be without a little Sith buddy before you're not, you know, like it's how long?
I think, okay, I'll answer that one just quickly. I assume you're always, it's, you know, tacitly understood that you've always got a Sith on the side.
You know, a little side Sith.
And it's always, you know, assume that your I keep wanting to, apprentice is going to kill you, probably.
Right, or is at least attempting to. And so that's why you have these, you know, other acolytes that you're training to protect you and then take his place when he makes the attempt and fails.
But then that doesn't seem like the Rule of Two very much.
Well, there's only two, you know, reigning Sith. They only two get the title. It's really just all about the cred.
It is, and business cards.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is what we were just talking about. Have the prequels changed the way we perceive the Jedi? Have they made us as flawed and I was going to say human until I realized.
I think if we didn't have the prequels, we would probably still kind of lionize the Jedi in a way that we certainly don't. And I think that, you know, I guess maybe that helps to explain why so many people felt so betrayed by Luke's portrayal in The Last Jedi, because they've completely erased the prequels from their memory. They don't want to accept it. They still have this different vision of Jedi that isn't as tainted. And so Luke doing these things seems really out of character.
That's what Mark Hamill said.
That's what?
That's a good theory.
Mark Hamill kept going and saying, this is not what Luke would do. Luke would not do this. And he said he argued with them a lot, but at the end of the day, it was their movie.
Well, I don't know. My understanding is that that's kind of, people have been kind of taking him out of context with him saying that. And what I've heard him say is something more like, when I first read it, I thought, this isn't Luke. And then when I went to the set and when I started talking to Ryan about the character and as we developed, I really saw where this was going and why this was a great thing. Okay. So, you know, maybe at first he was upset, but I think to say that that was his opinion forevermore, I don't think that's accurate.
I do like that they asked him to read like the stage directions and the set and everything during the first read through.
As the Joker?
Huh?
Did they ask him to do it as the Joker?
Yes, he does it. But I think that was so great that they asked him to do that so that
he could be there. Yeah.
Yes. And have something to do besides sit there at the end and be like, oh, and then Luke appears and throws it over his shoulder and walks away.
But he didn't do that in that movie.
Right.
No, he didn't.
He just stood there and took down his hood.
But it is definitely true that most of what we know about the Jedi, especially in terms of the kind of day-to-day Jedi life, we know from the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. And we also realize, you know, they say only Sith deal in absolutes, but the Jedi are saying to Anakin, you have to kill your dad. Or Luke, they were saying, you have to kill your dad. There's no other way around it. And they're thinking in absolutes. And Luke was not. So there was a time before, you know, the prequels that we saw that there was kind of this weirdness. Yeah, and then also in the prequels, when the council's like, you have to spy on Palpatine, that's...
Yeah. Well, I also feel like with the prequels really pointed out something that was already obvious, but not focused on enough by, I guess, the audiences, that, you know, that we are the Empire. You know, it's not like this evil thing out there. It's actually us.
How do you mean?
I mean that when Star Wars was first released, people saw it as this black and white good versus evil thing, and the evil empire was this evil thing. That the Jedi and the rebels were fighting against, and the prequels contextualize that to make it very clear that the Empire was just the state that most people are living in.
Okay.
Slightly rebranded and using terrorism as an excuse to do terrible things.
Yes, which is why a lot of people, and I could have gone down this road, but how depressing would it have been? A lot of people go, you know, bullet by bullet about how the Emperor is Hitler and how it's about, you know, Hitler. Close enough. Because, you know, he found this group and he said, this is the group that we're going to get rid of, and this is why, and it's so dangerous, and, you know, he was charismatic and got all this power before he did things, and then had acts of terrorism, like the getting the Trade Federation to blockade Naboo so that he could get the sympathy vote on Naboo, and they burned down the Reichstag, and there's a lot of
I definitely see that. You know, life better not imitate art if that's the case, because I do not want Hitler coming back. Shit is surreal enough.
You don't think we'll see Hitler in the next movie?
I just don't want to see Hitler in real life. I don't want there to be like Hitler's brain in a robot or something.
Maybe that's what's happening to 3PO.
At this point, weirder things have already happened.
I think we already do have Hitler's brain in some sort of a robot, but we'll move on from that. I didn't say that. Okay, so what makes someone a Jedi? Who is the Skywalker in question? Is it Rey? And if it is Rey, how?
I'm guessing it's not a person, it's more of a concept or a group.
I think that's a very strong possibility, yes, that we're not talking about an individual. On the other hand, if we are talking about an individual, I think an interesting guess is that it is Rey, but that it's not that she's biologically a descendant of Anakin Skywalker. It's that she somehow takes on the name or the identity of Skywalker as a title.
Yeah, I can see that too. I think there's also a slight chance it's Vader.
Do you think she might... Wait, there's a slight chance at what?
That it's Vader / Anakin.
Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. That's...
I mean, if he's got to rise from the dead, right? All saviors do it.
So you're thinking maybe the Emperor goes into Doctor Who, and
the Emperor goes into Doctor Who. There's a clone of Hans Christian Andersen.
Right. I spread it to someone else. This is wonderful.
Well, it does seem like Rey in the new trailer. There's a shot of Rey looking up at what seems to be the Emperor.
Yes.
There's like a black cloak in the corner. It's not 100% clear, but it certainly seems like it's Rey in some.
It seems to me like it could be Vader.
I don't know. It seems much more like a hood than a cape.
We do see Mustafar, right? And that's where Vader's castle is.
Is that Mustafar?
I thought
maybe.
I saw a flash of Mustafar. I mean, if it's lava flows and it's not Mustafar, then fuck you, J.J. Abrams.
I don't remember seeing lava flow.
Maybe I'm thinking of... Continue, sorry.
And Rey says, also in the trailer, you know, people keep telling me they know me, but nobody does.
And then Kylo says, but I do. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and there's a connection between, obviously, her and Kylo Ren. And when she touched the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, she had that vision in Episode 7. And so the idea of Rey being, I don't know if we're talking about being a genetic descendant or midi-chlorian creation or what, but there's a Rey Palpatine connection that not only will explain what Palpatine is doing here, but will explain what Rey's importance is in this cosmology. And that remains true. There's some question about her identity and her role in all of this.
Well, and in this trailer too, Palpatine says something to the effect of, you know, your coming together will be your undoing.
Yes.
You know, so it seems that he planned to bring these characters.
But does he mean that, or does he mean like Kylo and Rey?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I still think they're brother and sister. I think they're twins. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, it is possible. And in a way, if that is what it is, it's just everyone's, it's like,
That's gonna
of course.
No, if that happens, come on.
but it is the kind of beat for beat recreation of the dynamics from the original trilogy that we've been getting.
You have Rey as a desert kid. You have Luke as a desert kid. You have Anakin as a desert kid. They all have to hustle a little bit. Luke has the cushiest life, but it's this. They're two orphans. There's a lot of flow through there. I don't know. I think they're twins. I don't know.
I wouldn't, commit to that theory, but it would be interesting, and it would be kind of like, yeah, I know, you're right, Marc-Anthony. It would be sort of like, oh my God, come on, that's so obvious.
I feel like if you do that, then you might as well just have, and this is the mega double-decker Death Star.
Well, maybe that's what we got in episode 7. I mean,
I know.
Yes, that's very interesting.
Corned beef rehash, anyway.
So you think it's more of a Skywalker has become more of a way of life, or like a theme, or more like a
Jedi-like status.
Yes,
yeah, like a title,
charismatic, or a characteristic of, I don't know.
Maybe.
Or an ethos, or maybe, like a. Yeah.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear it.
Or maybe in a more prosaic way. Maybe it's not quite that, but Rey, in the climax or in the resolution of this film, decides to call herself Skywalker. She's Rey Skywalker. She does not have a last name. We've never heard her referred to as anything more than Rey. And perhaps in tribute to Luke and Anakin and Leia and Ben, and everybody, she, in some formal sense, takes on the name Skywalker.
Maybe she goes back in time and becomes Shmi.
I was wondering if she was Shmi, but then I thought that's just ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
There's no reason. There's no reason.
Well, let's consider the really stupid things too.
And what about? Okay,
I thought maybe she was Norma Desmond from Sunset Boulevard.
I thought about this. Well, she was Norma in Twin Peaks for sure. But I was. Anyway, no, it doesn't matter. I was thinking about something very stupid, but I don't even need to bring it up. So it's not the rise of the Jedi.
Right.
Is Rey a Jedi? What makes a Jedi? Do the Jedi exist? Will they ever exist again?
In episode 8, Luke explicitly says, "I will not be the last Jedi."
Okay. So does Rey decide on her own, I'm a Jedi? Does Kylo Ren become the Jedi?
Like maybe for all we know, those books, it's like just a really simple mail order worksheet. You fill it out to become a Jedi.
Is it Carrie Fisher
that bestows Jedihood upon her?
that becomes a Jedi?
Oh,
Because I made this little thing that we can talk about too, but it has the other pieces, the Anakin and Luke, and how they get from one place to the other, like how Luke gets from himself to being a Jedi, and where that on the timeline is. But then there's Leia Organa and a kind of a question mark, and it's like, I can float in space, question mark.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Leia obviously did have some kind of training experience and developed her powers.
Yeah, there was a fair amount of that in the Legends and Extended Universe, and a little bit maybe in, I don't think there was much in any of the like canon cartoons and stuff, but Leia did wield a lightsaber at times and did some Jedi stuff.
I've read some speculation
and also
that
twins.
and also
Had twins.
I have heard some speculation that Leia perhaps trained Rey, in the incidents, in between episodes 7 and 8, and maybe especially 8 and 9, that Luke and Leia together essentially train Rey, and that makes her a Jedi. And in, I think, the first teaser trailer for episode 9, there is a little sequence of Rey doing some Jedi stuff and Leia kind of seemingly, the shots could be manipulated in the trailer to make it look this way, but it seems like Rey is really Jediing it up and Leia is kind of standing there approvingly looking at her. So that is a possibility.
Well, and also the scene where Rey is, jumping around in the jungle with Leia on her back, kind of.
Yeah. So weird and so derivative.
Yeah, that was very derivative.
Especially when Carrie Fisher started saying things backwards and putting...
Yeah, when she's like, how you get so big eating food of this kind.
Okay, wait. So there were more... And I left one of my sheets in there, so we're not even going to get there.
You've really worked on this.
Okay. I want to know. Do Hux and Kylo hang out after work? And if so,
Yes.
what is their favorite activity?
They do blacklight mini golf.
Do they ever have big fights?
they have tiffs,
Over mini golf?
Mm-hmm.
Have the past 2 movies and this preview changed the way we look at either Kylo Ren or Adam Driver?
I
had no context for Adam Driver prior to Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I didn't watch Girls.
But at the beginning, in the first episode he was in, he was ridiculous. And now
I think his
ridiculous.
I think his character is pretty.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
When I walked out of that movie, I felt like initially he was ridiculous, but in a way that he was my favorite thing in the movie the first time I saw it.
He's just become very exciting to me, but I think it's because he's really becoming more of a villain. And in the first movie, he was just like this kid. I don't know. I'm liking him a lot. I liked it when he comes out of the rain. Really like that.
I found him in episode 7 right from the beginning, like a very an effective villain. Like, I don't mean like, oh, ridiculous, like in a criticism of the work, but but he is a ridiculous character. And I thought that was one of the things that was interesting about episode 7, and that was actually different and kind of a new thing in Star Wars. This kind of hothead, like almost teenage,
tempered
bad guy.
Throwing.
Yeah, who was legitimately dangerous and scary, but was also just this like out of control kid having a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
That was new and interesting, I thought. But
worked. And it was a big risk. It was a big risk to do that. It would have fell flat on its face. And under the
and in a movie which
actor, it certainly would have.
Keep talking.
Yeah, he does a good job. And in a movie that is largely like just fulfilling what already happened in previous movies and finding, equivalents and analogies, that was a creative decision.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things from that. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with Kylo in this one. There are some things I guess I'd prefer over other things, but I'm open to whatever they choose to do.
It seems like redeeming the villain is such a big part of the arc of the original trilogy, and it's already been introduced in this new trilogy as, Rey thinking there's good in Kylo Ren. And I mean, it seems to me that for the whole series to have the kind of exultant ending we're all assuming it will have, Kylo Ren will have to be redeemed or perhaps sacrificed, or I feel like it's probably not going to end with Kylo Ren as the villain of the galaxy.
I think he might be dead.
But I also doubt it's going to, end with Kylo Ren hugging everybody and looking at some Force ghosts.
I think he's going to die. It's the only option for him.
Yeah.
Killed his dad. I mean, like, he can't. He just can't. He's got to die.
There another little bit of speculation is that he didn't kill his dad. That Han pulled the trigger on that lightsaber to let Kylo advance without actually crushing his soul more.
Huh. I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Because he couldn't kill his mom.
Right. But maybe he could kill his dad.
But he could kill his dad, yeah. He was much more pissed off at his father. This is what happens in Greek tragedy and pretty much any other tragedy. And this whole series is about dads.
Yeah.
Um,
The daddy issue series.
yes, and orphaning, and which brings me to another question I have, and I think we talked about this already, but one, why don't they change Luke's last name?
Yeah.
From Skywalker. Two, why do they even bring up his father? He's too young to know it. Three, why does Beru speak with such nostalgia when she says he's got too much of his father in him, when his father is Darth Vader?
But she doesn't know that.
She does too.
No, she doesn't.
I don't know.
Why would she? I think pretty much only Palpatine, and I don't think Kenobi might not even know it until A New Hope.
But she says, they know that something bad happened to Anakin, and they know that they were asked to take his child.
Yeah, Kenobi definitely knows it.
Yeah, Kenobi does know it. But I agree. The way things actually worked out in the prequels, I'm not sure she has standing to say, "Oh, he has too much of his father in him." That's one of those lines that does feel like it was written way before Lucas knew what the story was going to be eventually. But I don't think. And the question of if you were trying to hide Luke from his father, why in the world would, especially if he's growing up with the Lars family, Gesundheit, why would you call him Luke Skywalker? That is an extremely valid point. Maybe it speaks to what goes on in the Outer Rim territories is just nobody thinks anybody's going to know anything about it.
I think for a while some people said something to the effect of the reason he was held on Tatooine was that Vader would never go there. Mm-hmm. It was the one place that. And people are like, if you notice, on Hoth, Vader lands, but he doesn't land when they're at Tatooine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yes.
So when Leia's talking about her mother, is this a mistake, or do we just accept it? She's talking about her mother, and she says, I remember a sweet face or whatever. Was that her adoptive
I was really young
mother?
when she died. I have only remember images, really. She was very beautiful, but very sad, something like that.
So was that Leia's
generally a mistake,
mother?
You can explain it away pretty easily, too.
Was it the Organa woman?
I think it's more maybe Jedi babies just have some kind of special memory, she has this beautiful, sad memory of her mother.
We don't ever hear anything about, Jimmy Smits' wife again, do we?
No, I don't think we do.
So maybe she died. And which brings me to their point, that it's not a discussion point, it's just a point of notice that, we had to kill Jimmy Smits.
But Luke says, do you remember your mother, your real mother? So he's definitely distinguishing between two mothers.
Yeah, I think the only a convincing explanation here, the real life explanation, I think, is
it's a mistake. Yeah,
it's a mistake. But the only way you can maybe justify it is to say, yes, Luke's question is clear, but Leia, in her infant memory, she's confusing a memory of the Organa woman, as you delicately put it, with Padme.
That Organa woman.
She remembers being held by a nice lady when she was a baby. That's about it. She knows it wasn't the lady in the see-through pants in episode 2.
How do you know? How do you know?
I just know. I have felt her.
Okay, let's talk about stormtroopers a little bit. Question A. Only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. Do we ever see stormtroopers be precise? Ever?
Yeah, they're more precise than you think.
Who do they kill?
They don't miss as much as you think is maybe a better way to put it. So in a lot of the scenes where we notice them missing, it's when they're supposed to be letting someone escape because they're being tracked, or when they're really just herding someone into an area rather than trying to kill them.
Okay.
So their aim is not as bad as popular belief would have us believe.
Noah, thoughts?
I'll buy that explanation from Marc-Anthony. I do think it's sort of noteworthy that the stormtroopers, they are the iconic fight force of the Empire, and at no time do they ever succeed in killing any characters we like.
Right.
You know, that's but Mark Anthony's explanation is suitable. Of course, we don't
But I mean,
want
of
to
course,
see,
it's, you know, somewhat
Han Solo killed by a random anonymous soldier.
Yeah.
And then why is the only stormtrooper to ever bleed is the one that puts his hand on Finn's face?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
It's another, I think, an aesthetic choice that would be cool. We are going to have to know this one stormtrooper because he's important in the story, and he hasn't taken off his helmet yet. So we need a visual thing to happen to him so we can keep track of him. And wouldn't it be cool if he had a smear of blood on his face? So it is a rare appearance of blood in a Star Wars movie.
I mean,
but I don't think there's I don't think there's an in-universe explanation for it, you know.
No, but why wouldn't they think like this doesn't make any sense and let's figure out another way to solve this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the guy who does that, who reaches up, it's not a stormtrooper, is it?
Oh, I thought it was.
Well, I mean, if it is, like, there's a... Okay, maybe it is, but so there's a guy in there who bleeds when he's cut, and, you know...
Nobody else does?
Shot by, you know, lasers and just jumping back. There's blood under their armor. It's just cauterized, you know, the wound, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Luke gets his hand cut off. He didn't bleed at all.
Well, that's a lightsaber wound.
You know, we don't know. There could be all kinds of aliens under those stormtrooper armor, and maybe that is an alien, you know, like they menstruate through their hands.
Yeah, I bet that's it.
Maybe it's not blood. He reaches, there happens to be a can of, a bottle of ketchup right there.
And he's
and
like,
as he's dying, he grabs it. Yeah, something like that.
He just wanted his last moments to do with ketchup. He brought the ketchup with him. Okay. Before the Death Star, why was everyone so afraid of the Empire?
Because they had troopers spread throughout the galaxy that were basically occupying planets.
And not the Outer Rim.
Well, yeah, but not the Outer Rim.
And what would they do? Like, what were they doing? And this leads me to a bigger question of, what does Palpatine want?
Well, I mean, you could say, why was everyone afraid of the Soviet Union? Like, they didn't have a Death Star, but they had a giant occupying and invading army.
But there are not that many stormtroopers to have a giant occupying army on every system.
Yeah, well, I guess they're not really in every system. And, like, the characters on Tatooine, they do seem to understand that they kind of live outside of the law in that sense, you know. And Lando on Cloud City has, you know, worked out a deal that's gonna make everything
forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, you know, but they are a massive evil army. Death Star, I guess, is their bid to control the entire galaxy, and
but what does
you know,
that mean?
do more than they were able to before.
I mean, I think it's easy enough to just ask, you know, like, why are people afraid of the United States militarily?
I just don't understand what he wants. It seems to be too big to control. I mean, like,
what
unlimited
Palpatine
power.
wants?
Yeah, unlimited.
Oh, I agree with that. I think that's always true of the Star Wars movies and lots of movies in this spirit. You know, what really do the bad guys want? They, especially it's really true in Star Wars, the villains are not hedonists. Like, it's not like they want to suppress everyone so that they can be served and be in charge and live this life of indulgence, you know, like
and
the
have
villains
the most
in
of whatever is missing in this world. Like, usually these movies have something that's missing, like water is a big thing, and the tyrants have
There's
all
no resource in contest, really. It's
just,
I mean, maybe that will be the major focus, and, you know, we will find out Palpatine has returned, and it turns out he just wanted to be loved.
Yes, he just needed to wait until there was enough CGI for him to finish the film.
I don't think we'll necessarily get an answer to that. I think the black and white morality of the first Star Wars movie, although it has been fascinatingly complicated by many subsequent stories told in this universe, ultimately we are still kind of tied into a good versus evil storyline, and the evil characters, what they want is power and control. It's beyond any what we would think of as an earthly prize, you know.
I mean, I guess that's kind of like 1984, what do they want? But they just want to control everybody, which is, I guess, kind of the same thing.
But it's worth asking. I mean, because they don't seem to want money. They don't seem to want sex. They don't, you know, the things that often motivate.
They
Right.
seem to want a complicated job, like very demanding, stressful,
Yeah.
never-ending job.
24 hours on call. You got a pager. You got a cell phone. I mean, it's just they never get out of your head.
The multitasking alone is just obscene.
And you can't delegate much of this stuff. You can't be
Who
like,
can
go
trust?
force choke this guy.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, I can't do that.
And
And
it's
I
not,
mean, you
it's
know, like,
not nice. Like the Death Star is not a nice place to work, you know? It's
Not.
awful.
They don't have snack machines.
They don't seem to have any kind of
agriculture
leisure.
or music.
Okay, so this is a really difficult trivia kind of question, and I would never be able to do this. I just wanted to see if you could.
Okay.
The Confederacy that Dooku has
Mm-hmm.
set up. Who are the big corporations that agree to support the Confederacy that day around the table?
Oh, I
The
don't know.
banking clan,
Yes, everybody's because the banking clan agrees with your treaty.
the Techno Union Army, the Geonosians,
What are they though? I don't know if that's right. One of them you're gonna kick yourself if you don't get it.
okay, hang on.
Both of them. Do you
Oh,
want-
the Trade Federation.
Mhm. There are two more. Tell me when you're ready for me to tell you.
Give me a second here. Okay. Techno Union Army. There's one that I don't think I know. I already said banking clan, right?
Right. The
There's one
corporate alliance.
But I don't know where it's from, and I don't think they speak.
There's a corporate alliance, and I don't know who that is. And
Okay,
then-
yeah, I don't know if they were mentioned by name, but
Then there's the Commerce Guild, which
Commerce Guild, yeah.
Oh yeah, we represent the Commerce Guild. The Commerce Guild.
So in the same vein as that, one of the things we were talking about Hitler too was that you always had to have an enemy, and that's what Palpatine did. Was he just kept fighting wars against himself? So the question is, I've got so many pieces of paper, and Noah probably would have done this with many fewer pieces of paper. Who are the enemies that Palpatine, Sidious, sets up? Who are the enemies that he uses and creates?
Well, the Trade Federation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to a certain extent we could say he was manipulating the Jedi.
They're on here, yes.
And then, also all those people we just listed, those would be.
But who does he go to next after the Trade Federation and villainizes? The Senate
Oh,
and Valorum. And he makes them the enemy of a
right.
lot of people, Naboo and all those people. And then the next enemy is as we said, Dooku's Confederacy.
It's really like Palpatine's playing 3D chess and everyone else is playing 3D checkers.
Count Dooku, he turned him into an enemy with the Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
Turned the Jedi Council into an enemy with Anakin. And then when the Confederacy was down, he still had to keep things going. So who did he bring in then?
Were they down?
Wait, what do you question? What was your question?
Well, I mean, I don't think that any of the the Confederacy necessarily just evaporated.
No, but Dooku was gone.
Dooku was gone, but you still had all of those powers that were doing things in the galaxy that could be struck against or painted as a threat.
But who was the big villain there? They said, oh, we got Dooku, but this guy's still there, so we can't end this war.
Darth Maul.
Grievous.
Oh, Grievous.
Then, of course, Mace Windu, the Jedi, and then the Republic.
Okay, yeah.
think of anybody else? I mean, people we just listed, but I think that's kind of the flow of how he got all of his power, because by the end of it, it was the Jedi and the Republic, which were the most important too.
Right.
But, you know, in his long con game, because he also got Natalie Portman to do her vote of no confidence, and then he had Jar Jar set him as the chancellor. So he had to bring all these enemies together in order to make that happen. It's less of a discussion and more of me talking. All right.
But no, it's fascinating. It's true. His game is really interesting, and you know, I think that calls into. It makes me want to hope that with what's happening in Episode 9, we get to see more Palpatine scheming.
I'm very interested in.
I dig that.
Where he's going to be and how he's going to be. And who is his Sith partner?
Is it Kylo?
Kylo's not a Sith.
Is it a clone of Vader?
We have seen that there are going to be characters known as the Sith Troopers in Episode 9. They're red stormtroopers who are called Sith Troopers, which is a notably different use of the word Sith than we have yet encountered. It certainly suggests that there can be more than two Sith somethings. I guess they're not Sith Lords.
Sith Lords,
you know?
Yeah, these are Sith Earls.
I mean, they seem to be like they are a combination of like the stormtroopers and the Emperor's Royal Guard, you know, from Return of the Jedi. But that's interesting and apparent, and I guess we're going to know something about the Knights of Ren too. So this is two groups of evil, two little like evil units of troops, you know.
Cadres, evil cadres.
Cadres, yes. Two really bad cadres, and they're going to have some bearing on the story.
Okay, well, here's a question. Okay. Who's one of the top 5 people, because I don't want you to spend a lot of time on your number 1, would you like to be in the Star Wars universe? A specific person.
You're talking about actors?
No, a character.
That we would want to live as? That we would want to live as?
That we would want to be in the Star Wars universe. I'd like to be Baron Papanoida.
Who's Baron Papanoida?
That's George Lucas's cameo in Episode 3. He's a playwright on Coruscant.
It can be anyone in the Star Wars universe?
Mm-hmm.
I would want to be, if this won't mean anything to you, but I would want to be one of the guys in the Fix-It shop on the Colossus in the Resistance cartoon. There are these, it's a, you know.
It works well because you want that
a couple aliens that work in a shop where they sell gizmos, and that's what I want.
But that works really well with the outfit you chose.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah.
I
guess for some reason in the Star Wars universe, my mechanical tendencies predominate. Not so much.
And what are your one of the top 5 experiences you would have liked to have participated in Star Wars universe so far?
I'd like to meet that lady in the see-through pants.
I want to like, you know, feed meat or something to a baby Sarlacc.
I knew you were going to say that. That should have been a bingo.
Feed meat to a baby Sarlacc was something.
Yeah.
No, but I don't mean that. But when you started to answer the question, I thought, oh, this is going to be about the Sarlacc. I don't know why.
Yeah, I love the Sarlacc. I don't want to, but you know,
it's fascinating.
I don't know if it was someone was telling me about somewhere there was, you know, like if every creature is force sensitive, is there somewhere a Sarlacc that trained to be a Jedi? Did someone have like this, you know, potted plant thing that's like an R2, like, and they're like, you've got to focus.
You put him a silk robe on them. Yes. I think I would. I don't know what I've liked to have been a part of. Actually, I can't think of what it would be. Oh, it would probably be something. Oh, it would be Rogue One on the beach watching the explosion come to you and just sitting and realizing you're sacrificing yourself for this huge thing. You finished it. There's this person you'd probably be in love with, but you don't have to go through the muckety muck of having a love relationship because you're both going to die.
Yeah, Amanda, that sounds great.
You know, you got Diego Luna there. It's a beach. I mean, I'm on the beach.
Day at the beach.
Yes. Okay. A couple more questions, and you guys can, you know, jump in here at any moment.
If you could insert one kind of fabric into the Star Wars universe, what would it be?
Microfiber.
Microfiber.
I
would make Mon Mothma Paisley.
Gingham. Not enough gingham in Star Wars.
Yeah, overalls, gingham, things like that. Okay.
Could it kill you to have a little plaid Tatooine?
Spaceball 1 goes to plaid. And
Spaceball 1 does go to plaid.
And Boss Nass is the leader of the Ginghams.
All right.
Gingham style.
Is it stuffy where you are, Marc-Anthony? Are you in a hot box there?
It is really, but luckily I've been given this fan by the music department of the Toho Gakuen College of Music.
It's very pleasant.
Drama and music, yeah. So it's
nice. All right, here's something. It's called When, How, Why. We have Anakin Skywalker, the human, regular kid person.
Okay.
We have Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi.
Sure.
And then we have Anakin Skywalker as Darth Vader.
Okay.
Well, along this continuum, when did he become Darth Vader? Was it, it could be meant more things than this, but was it
when he kneels before Palpatine and Palpatine says,
is that because
Rise, Lord Vader?
But when does he become Vader in his heart? Is that at the same time, or is it when he starts lying about Padme? When he kills Count Dooku, does he become Darth Vader?
Maybe when he kills the younglings.
Yeah, that would have been my thought too, with younglings.
Also, Windu, when he turns his back on Obi-Wan, when he kills Padme, or when he puts the suit on.
I think it was the second he said, no! That no was the last of Anakin escaping from
It was the no heard around the world.
It was the no heard around the world.
So what do you think? Noah, you think it was...
I think of him, if I had to identify a moment when he becomes Darth Vader, I think of him kneeling before Palpatine and being sort of knighted. But there are, as we've just noted, there are other interesting moments to talk about that are important in that transition and, could be said in some sense. I think when he kneels before Palpatine, that's like taking the oath of office. That's it. From that moment on, it's official. But if you want to say emotionally, there was a
he campaigned for Vader a bit before that.
Yeah.
I think when he killed Count Dooku, he started going down, as Macbeth says.
That's a key moment.
The water
That's
but so is the killing the Tusken Raiders.
Right.
Yes.
And that deleted scene where he, punched Kitster in the nuts in episode 1, they took that out. But that was a Vader moment.
But they weren't going to give the Sand People a trial. What his thing about Dooku was he needs to be turned over.
Right.
Also, in the Dooku case, it's not just that he's doing something that's kind of against that's an act of violence that he doesn't actually seem to want to do, but he obeys Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a key moment in him coming under the influence of Palpatine over the Jedi. The Jedi would not have wanted him to do that.
They will want, his son to kill him, though.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the moment, but there is something to be said about when he decides to live his life as a lie and marry Padme.
That may be when he becomes not a Jedi anymore.
Then was he ever a Jedi?
Well, he was never a master.
No. Another mistake of the council. They either shouldn't have let him do it or should have given him the title. In my opinion.
Oh, the Jedi Council mishandles
put
that.
His mom on a safe planet. Set her up in the witness protection program. God damn it.
Yes. Here. Justice for Shmi.
Play with their fruit. All right, so going the other direction, when and if Darth Vader returns to being Anakin Skywalker? Is it when he feels Luke that is his son? Is it when he kills the Emperor? Is it when he takes his mask off? Is it when he tells Luke, go on? Or is
I'll say he
really
never quite
redeemed?
stops being Anakin Skywalker. I
Or-
think there's always a bit of that in him. And, you know, he repressed it heavily, but I'm sure on Cloud City he was like, I'm just going to pretend like I didn't just see my droid.
I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't see him. Hand those Mentos over. My droids.
I think the key moment is when he kills Palpatine. I mean, that's when it's the first and only time since becoming Darth Vader that we're aware of that he, you know,
Doesn't
commits
force
a,
somebody.
yeah, he commits an unselfish act. He defeats the bad guy rather than working for him.
Okay, Luke Skywalker. On the way to becoming a Jedi. He meets Obi-Wan, he's trained by Yoda. He leaves Dagobah. They keep saying, you're not going to finish your training. You're never going to be a Jedi. But when he steps back into Yoda's territory, Yoda's like, you're a Jedi. It's fine.
Yes.
So when does he actually become a Jedi?
Well, in that sense, I think it's kind of up to Yoda. Yoda's the master who tells him when he's ready.
His
And
own counsel will he keep.
yeah, that's right. And, you know, there is time passes between those two films. So, you know, Luke has, and when we meet Luke in Return of the Jedi, he is obviously more powerful and capable than he was when we last saw him in Empire. So he's been training and developing his powers. He's probably had some, you know, Force Ghost training sessions with Obi-Wan, maybe Yoda too.
And, you know, for all we know, Yoda...
Well, not Yoda, but maybe
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Study before he left for Cloud City, and he was studying them and...
Yeah.
brought
Yeah,
them
and,
back.
you know,
Like,
to
I'm
the...
returning your books, and also I'm going to go kill my dad, maybe.
To the Yoda question, you know, I think, although Yoda's always kind of my favorite character, but if we don't see Yoda in Episode 9, that would kind of make sense to me, because Yoda had such a wonderful scene in The Last Jedi. That was an appropriate last.
Well, and since we didn't see Yoda in Episode 4, you know, it
Right.
kind of makes sense to kind of bookend it in that way without having Yoda be seen.
And Yoda was important to Luke, like, you know, assuming Luke's role in Episode 9 will be a kind of marginal Force Ghost kind of part. He'll probably, my imagination is that he'll have an important scene or two, but, you know, I don't think Luke will be a main protagonist of Episode 9, and so I don't see why Yoda would have a significant role to play in the story. But maybe he will be part of some, like, curtain call of Force Ghosts at the end or something like that.
Well, we've already had that curtain call of Force Ghosts.
We have, but that turned out not to be the ending.
There will be more Force Ghosts.
I think that is a very safe bet, that we will see Force Ghosts
Yes.
in this movie.
Well, we're going to see Hans Christian Andersen, so yes.
And Mark Hamill.
Excuse me. Excuse me again, and Mark Hamill.
We know we're going to see Mark Hamill. Hans Christian Andersen at this point is a rumor, but probably a likelihood.
I have so many other things to talk about, but we're getting close to the end. I want to just be able to talk freely about our predictions and things. So that's what I'm going to go into. So this is a very general prediction. And I think as we get closer, we'll probably predict more, and we just predicted a lot. I think there will be no lightsaber battles for the Emperor. Never. He will never hold a lightsaber again.
Yeah, I think that's a good prediction. We might see some
too
Force
old.
lightning.
Maybe. But he's too old, and he could barely fight, like, in The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, like,
I'm going to predict that the Emperor has some new kind of power that he uses too.
So you don't think it's going to be Force electricity?
Well, it might be Force electricity, but then he also has, you know, Force base blast or something. I don't know what it would be, but
How come nobody else uses Force electricity?
I'm sure there's a nerdy reason for that. You know, that in the dark side you can charge it up and.
Doesn't somebody in the
It's not
prequels?
defensive, maybe.
Yeah, Dooku uses it.
Dooku, yeah.
Yeah, but it's evil. So maybe it's because it's not defensive; it's offensive.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so what are your very general predictions right now? Not the ones we just went through, but something like that, something very specific. Do you have something?
I think the Millennium Falcon will be destroyed.
Mm.
That is a good, it's going to be, yes, that's a good way to do this without killing a character.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, I can see a nice kind of ending being, you know, like Rey and Chewie flying off into the sunset, but I feel like if we don't destroy the Falcon at this point, it's never going to go away.
Do you think that Billy D. Williams is going to be on the Falcon when it's destroyed?
That's possible.
Do you think it's because he's drinking Colt 45?
I think it's because Billy D. Williams might be a bit difficult to work with at this point, and they want a reason to say, no, we can't have you in another movie, Billy, sorry.
Noah?
Billy D. Williams can be in any movie he wants. I don't know. Beyond the predictions I've already articulated tonight, I can't think of another big one. But I feel like I've said a lot of things that I expect from episode 9. I'll tell you this. This isn't a prediction, but the new trailer, when I first watched it, I had almost a predictable sort of dazzled, oh my God, there's numerous spine-tingling moments in it, and it certainly made me excited to see episode 9. Subsequent re-watchings of the trailer have made me feel a strange impatience, like, I just want to see the movie already. Like, how many more weeks of anticipating this do we have to live through? It's the first time I've had that kind of like, let's just do it already.
Yeah. But, you know, speaking of which, do you have tickets yet?
No, I guess we should do that. Tickets are on
I
sale.
was just thinking about that. We have to.
In fact, I might need to plan a Chicago trip to see it in sync with you guys. I don't know if it comes out in big cities sooner than it comes out in rural areas.
We could
interesting.
In the secret.
That will be fun, and we certainly do have to make sure we see it, before the 22nd.
Yeah.
So Noah, you don't have any like little tiny predictions, like
I've already opined on like characters who might live or die, and what the implications of the title might be, and the various mysteries surrounding Rey's identity and Palpatine's return, and what form Luke's role might take, and Leia's. What else can I say? I predict that and the George Lucas cameo, that was, I thought, a very good prediction.
Yes. Okay. So when Rey is in the first preview and she's standing out there forever, and the whole North by Northwest thing happens.
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant. I thought it was going to end with that. I just thought it was going to be her breathing and then nothing, and then that ship. And I thought if that's all they did, it would have been so ballsy. It's so good. But I like that they went on. So North by Northwest ship. What was I going to ask you? Oh my God, it's gone now because I got all into that thing. Oh, so they show the black gloved hands holding onto the wheel or whatever in the ship. And the black gloved hands look a lot like Vader's hands. And I'm wondering why they would show the hands if they weren't trying to be significant about them.
I assumed it was Kylo Ren.
Oh.
I assumed that too, but I could see it somehow being Vader or some facsimile thereof.
Do you think Spencer Tracy would have fared better in North by Northwest if he could have jumped like that?
Or if he wore those gloves?
Or be a lightsaber?
Kylo Ren is clearly getting his helmet back. We've seen that in at least 2 of these 3 trailers. And
yeah, he's repairing it, and
it has some kind of red, kind of fiery seams now where it was broken.
Yeah, that happened to Godzilla a few times.
And did somebody pick it up in the elevator after he destroyed it? Did somebody like scoop it up and be like, oh, he'll want this later?
Well, they've still got Vader's
People
helmet
save
hanging around.
things, the lightsabers, helmets. Someone's gonna hold
It's
on to
huge. They must have tons of closet space.
Yeah, that's right. Little do you know, there are just panels all over the place that open in storage everywhere.
Cloaks.
And costumes in there.
Yes, boas for costume night. So Noah, you think that the lady in red pants is going to be George Lucas? That was your prediction?
Something like that.
Okay, I'll just write that down.
I'm also just guessing, you know, they're going to try a few things that will be new to Star Wars, but not necessarily new to the cinema world. We just need to make sure that the final Star Wars movie has some of these things. So I'm going to say boobs. I think we're going to see some boobs.
No way. No way.
I don't know. Boobs were on my mind.
I wonder why.
And apparently I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I'm the only person who hasn't said boobs yet. Boobs.
And now you have.
Interesting. Now, do you think that it's gonna? We were talking about all the ships popping into the sky and how visually stunning it is. Is that going to take anything away from it being Star Wars because it's so slick?
No, I don't think so. I think the new trilogy is pretty slick. I mean, they are. And Rogue One and Solo, too. There is a slickness about this new generation of Star Wars films. The prequels have a different but equal kind of slickness to them. If anything, though, like the thing that I think has never really been recaptured from the original trilogy, particularly the 1977 film, is the kind of almost ramshackle quality of things. You know, there is a slickness to these movies, like all contemporary blockbusters. They're very calculated, and at this point, Star Wars can never again seem like what it originally was, which is the idiosyncratic vision of one singular creative mind, abetted by an army of great artists. You know, that's not what it is anymore. It's now a piece of intellectual property that's going to attract lots of very committed artists who are very capable, and Star Wars is near and dear to them, and they will, I think they have taken good care of it and will continue to, but it's never going to be like an indie film again.
Well, I don't know. I mean, well, this one certainly won't be, but I can see us having some Star Wars indie film type things.
Yeah, that's possible. The promise of the Star Wars anthology films, had they continued, was kind of that. And I think Rogue One and Solo, like whether we like them or not, one thing about them is that they only slightly deviate from the tone and formula of the other films. And maybe that series would have been more interesting or had more staying power if it had messed with the formula more and let individual filmmakers really put their stamp on and make Star Wars films in a whole variety of styles. But I think ultimately, to make one of these movies, it's just too expensive to not do it in a calculated mass audience baiting kind of way. Like it just costs too much. The way to make more idiosyncratic Star Wars films is to make cheaper ones, like, you know, that maybe do little chamber pieces set in the Star Wars universe. But that would, you know, that could be a very big disappointment to a lot of people, something with the Star Wars brand name on it that plays like a little intimate drama. I don't know how possible that is in the landscape.
I mean, I think people have been severely disappointed by anything Star Wars.
That's true too.
You know, there were people that felt that way about Empire Strikes Back, and
yeah,
there will be people that don't like any new Star Wars.
Yes,
because
we might as well have the Max Rebo expose documentary.
I would love that. I mean, I'd be very happy if the series took that kind of a turn, but I don't see it happening.
Well, like a handheld documentary?
Yeah, or all kinds of different things. Like, yes, I think that would be great. Yeah, the Max Rebo Band rockumentary, that would be wonderful. But I think just Hollywood reality is makes all of that unlikely.
Well, fellas, I've gone through most of my questions. I'm glad we went through the who's going to live and who's going to die thing. I think we're all probably right about that. I think a lot of the new characters probably die. I think Billy D. Williams is going to be dead. I mean, dead. He's going to sacrifice himself. And that's probably when then we're going to lose the Falcon again. To your point.
That would make sense.
I think I'm not sure we're right about who we're going to see again and whether like Snoke's going to get tied up and Maz is going to get tied up. But if they're not, that's really irritating. Especially Snoke. I mean, anyway, so I've already expressed my displeasure about that. But is there anything else we want to say about these trailers or you know, moving into the next film before we talk about next 2 Sundays from now?
No, I think we've talked about it all. Let's do 2 Sundays from now.
All right. So 2
Sundays from now, it will be November 10th, and we will discuss episode 7, The Force Awakens. That will be an episode hosted by Noah Diamond, so it's not going to be one of our better episodes. But we'll get through it.
I'll be back to bingo.
Bingo will once again be Amanda's responsibility, and it's a shame that in this 2-hour discussion of Star Wars, nobody found what?
Cleveland.
No, but nobody found time to say ass injury.
God damn
Talk
it.
about an ass injury of any kind.
I did say butt hurt.
Oh, you did say butt hurt.
Yeah, that's a little.
I'm sorry, I must have gotten confused. There's so many characters. Who is this injury?
Well, it depends. In the EU, I mean, it's called butt hurt in the EU, and in the movies, it's ass injury.
I think the perfect actor for that role is obviously.
I really thought you were going to hold up something that said Ryan Gosling. I really did.
I'm afraid not. This is one I was surprised not to encounter tonight.
I was going to talk. I did. I talked about they come from sand planets.
Oh, okay. See, I wasn't as good at this as you are, Amanda. I didn't pay.
You got to have like a lot of things going on at once, and you know, it takes a special type of person. Well, I mean, not really special, just someone a little more superior to you.
It would be great if while making this comment you said something on my bingo list, but you haven't.
I was going to say that too, but I'd already said Norma died, and then I thought if I said Danny Carroll died, it was going to be horrible. I can say Norma. No, I was never going to say Jesus.
Also dead.
Yeah.
This came very close.
Resurrected, like Norma.
Oh, yeah.
You said blockade, and I think you might have said runner.
I don't think I did. I mean, not together.
Blockade, definitely.
Anyway. Here, I'll show you here's some news you can use. Anybody out there who's looking for our complete episode guide and archive of past discussions of Star Wars and Twin Peaks: The Return, we're at facesofstone.space. And as individuals, you can find us on Twitter and other places. M_A_Macon, president of Sisk, and Noah Diamond.
And I would like to take this opportunity to sadly let everyone know that I have decided to step down from the, I've decided not to become nominated as the next leader of our party and will not be running for president again, though I'm a Buddhist.
I feel like Bob Dylan in the, subterranean.
Oh my God, I have a post-it that says Nixon and I just decided not to go there. Not in my head, no. See, I don't ever show my bingos at the end. Was good, yeah, of course, it's always there. I was going to talk about that too, but it's,
How much do you want to bet there are like 6 or 7 bands named that?
Oh, I thought about that. I thought about that today. Order 66 is.
I almost said Grand Admiral Thrawn, but I knew I'd get a bingo.
Is that also why you didn't say underwear?
Exactly why I didn't say Grand Admiral Thrawn in underwear, which I would pay to see.
You did say Paisley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't have Paisley.
My
phone
I don't know why.
I'll try to do better next time.
My watch is telling me, I don't know why, it keeps buzzing at me and I don't know why. So I guess that means it's time to go.
Wow.
So we will see you all 2 Sundays from now on Oh God.
Faces
Oh,
of Stone.
I am. Goodbye.